Caesar, you did a Mazza still, did a Mazza still, did a Mazza still, did a Mazza still.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to MazzaProductions. Today's video, we are predicting the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight, which is today, technically. This is recorded on the Stereo app with my good friend Yesin. So if you do want to show any support, go over to check his channel down below in the description and follow us both on Stereo. And yeah, let's get into it. So we're recording this, obviously, just after the weigh-in. Did you watch it or not?
I did, yeah. So what?
Did you
do you not? Nah, I didn't. I saw the thumbnail. I saw the...
Yeah, mate. When you get a sec, watch it, because Jake brought out where he walks out, and then he's obviously just going to stand on the scales, but he has like this 10-foot robot behind him, and it's the most confusing thing I've ever seen. I'm not even joking. Like huge, like transformer type thing, and Michael Buffer, who's obviously like he's the voice of boxing, the let's get ready to rumble guy. He's just like, what's that behind you? And he goes, well, basketball players have a mascot, so I thought I'd have one. What?
Fucking hell.
There's some lengths he goes for clicks, but I kind of, the more he goes on, the more I respect the hustle, because he's got everyone on strings, because he knows no one likes him and just plays into it to the point of he's got a 10-foot robot on stage.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, if he actually ends up doing it and winning this match, I think the respect from a lot of people is going to be out there, because obviously with Askren, you go. Oh yeah, I was just going to say, like, especially with Askren being like, it's an absolute killer. Obviously, he had that one bad knockout, but his other matches are absolutely fucking amazing. So if he's able to actually win this match, I think a lot of people are going to just have that level of respect for him. Yeah, no, that's facts. Especially because Askren, striking wise, was poor, but he's still going to have that, like, his brain is going to be in touch with his body, obviously. Like, he'll have that connection. Do you think that was just like a ploy to try and get everyone to think that always with the videos that he's been putting out, the training videos? Do you think he's just done that to try and maybe get Jake to like lower his guard a little bit?
I'm going to be honest. I watched him in the UFC. It's not a ploy.
Is it not? No.
But he openly admitted that he wouldn't even hit pads when he was a UFC fighter or like an MMA fighter, because he wasn't, I think, Bellator or one. Because his whole game plan was, well, if I throw this punch, it blinds them, and then I can take them to the floor, and then I can do my thing. But I watched him on the pads, and he has improved since, because they done an open workout the other day. But you can't judge fighters off pads, obviously, but he still looks sort of the level on the pads that I looked at about a year ago. So it doesn't say much, but he also, like, he's still a fighter, and he's taken knees to the head of multiple times, not just the one that knocked him out. He has actually taken them constantly and been all right. But I saw a lot of people criticizing his physique in the weigh-in, but he's literally, even at the heights of his career, he still had this really weird round body. He still has it. I'd say he's definitely overweight for his body type. I don't know. He just has no muscle on him, I don't think. So he's just got this weird like beer belly, regardless of how fit he is constantly.
So what did he actually weigh in at?
He weighed in at like 192 pounds. I don't know what that is in stone, if I'm honest. And Jake weighed 190.5.
I'll try to find out. $13.5 stone.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad then. I mean, for his height, he'd actually be within like the normal weight category. He just has a really weird body type where a lot of fat just sits on his belly for no reason. But that was even like when he was in the Olympics, he had the exact same build, regardless of, he's obviously ridiculously fit, especially then, but he just had this weird belly for no reason. I think you're right there. Who are you going to put your money on? Oh, Jake, 100%.
I mean, what are the stakes looking like currently?
It was miles worse, because when I first checked, it was for every £100 on for Jake, you'd get £30 profit. Whereas then after the press conference, it went even to £90 each, and then now it's sitting at Jake, you get £60 for every £100, and Ben, you get about 90, I think. So it's got closer just from how I've seen. I think because in the press conference, Ben came across a lot better than Jake, really, didn't he?
Yeah,
I don't know if you said.
I've seen the conference. I just haven't seen the weigh-in.
Yeah, it was very cringeworthy. But Ben came across a lot better than Jake, put it that way.
Yeah, well, I feel like he's always been, throughout all of the videos that have been coming up to the lead up to this fight, he's just got such a chilled approach to everything.
Yeah,
and
he's very, just like relaxed, maybe too relaxed. But
do you think he's put in enough effort for the fight?
I think he will have, because he's been training with Freddie Roach, who's what's his name, Manny Pacquiao's main coach throughout the years. So Fred, they wouldn't let him slack in the camp. I know he's only there for a couple of weeks, but them 2 weeks would be probably harder than Jake's ever worked, from an athlete point of view.
Well, who's coaching? Who's coaching Jake?
BJ Flores. He was cruiserweight challenger. He challenged for the title, I think, 4 times and never won it, which is almost a record, I think. Because usually, if you waste your 1 or 2 title challenges, you'll never get another chance. But he just kept wasting them, and they just kept giving him, because he'd win all the meaningful fights up until that, and then just fumble pretty much.
Jesus.
But he is a good coach, and I watched he done a interview today with Vidal Riley, and he said Jake sparred 300 rounds in the last year, which is mental. And with high level pros, I don't know what pace they're pushing on him, but still, to be in the ring with people that are 14-0 and fighting at elite level is going to obviously benefit him.
Honestly, I'm putting my money on Jake as well.
Yeah, I think he'll win. And the MMA community, there's a lot of people on YouTube that are ex-MMA fighters and stuff, and they're downplaying Jake to the point of, there's no chance Ben doesn't win. And it's no, he's going to lose, I think. So I think he'll gain respect from a lot of actual fighters if he does win, because everyone hates him, so they want him to lose. But if he beats an actual fighter, regardless of their ability in striking, it's still commendable, regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we were to talk about the previous fight he had with the basketball player, I feel that's probably why a lot of people are currently with him.
Because you can't gauge his actual ability. He's looked good, and there's things that fighters will be able to watch. There's little things he does wrong, which is obvious because he's only been boxing a couple of years. But there's also the good things he does that he doesn't seem to get credit for. Nate Robinson was awful. He shouldn't have even been in the ring. But I
don't know why they let him in there.
Yeah, I don't know, money, man. The short punches Jake threw to catch him as he ran in were high level. They weren't obviously you wouldn't see Joshua fight with the exact same technique, or Tyson Fury or anyone, but they were they were timed to perfection, regardless of how bad Nate was.
That's fair enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the controversy with Snoop Dogg and the head of the UFC guy?
Oh, Dana.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the bet they done or whatever.
What, the 1 million bet, and Snoop Dogg said he'll double it.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah, Dana said, it's mad how they've actually captured the attention of the key people in the world, which is mental.
Just talking about if he ends up winning this, because let's be honest, it is a bit unpredictable right now. It could go either way. But if he does end up winning this, I'm putting my money on Jake anyway, because I think the amount of work he's been doing, he looks ready.
Yeah, no, he does actually. Yeah, that's facts. He does actually look good, and ability-wise, the amount he's come on over the last year or so is good. And physically, I think, because I just had a look at his weigh-in photos, and he looks more built like a boxer now than what he did even in the last 2 weigh-ins. He looks actually built like a boxer now.
Did you say he came in at 190 as well, or?
190.5, and then Ben was 192. So they're the pound difference doesn't mean anything really. But,
yeah. No, that's
yeah,
actually.
I think he'll earn a lot of respect from actual fighters because, like everyone, I can't remember. I was watching a body language analysis of him, and he said everyone thinks he's worse than he is ability-wise just because he's a tosser, pretty much. But he so they psychologically just condition himself to think that he's shit. But he is actually all right, to be fair.
I mean, how many years has he? How many years has he been in this sport?
Like 3, I'd guess, and yeah, I'd guess 3 because he started boxing for the Deji fight, didn't
he? Yeah, you're right. So he's saying he didn't actually stop training. He's saying since the Nate fight that he went through, it's been. I think I remember listening to this on the Impulsive podcast. He's saying he just didn't stop training since the other fight. So the guy's not stopping. He's at work constantly, 24/7. So I respect the grind.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, he is actually very dedicated. He's definitely, out of the entertainment fighters, he is actually the most dedicated by a mile. And I saw something. I don't know if I can really go into it. It's not. There's going to be about a dozen people that watch this, so it don't matter. I saw something that he the purses for the fight, and it's not actually that much. Like in perspective, I know it's obviously a great fee for a month's work or whatever, but he's getting like 500k. But I'm pretty certain he could get more elsewhere if he wanted to.
Did you hear about?
It's a huge payout for someone of his level boxing wise, but he probably has other income streams that he could use to. It shows his dedication slightly more, in fact, that he's choosing to box for money that's less than where he could get it somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely. Did you hear about the when they had the face off and he said, "Look, put your money where your mouth is. If you lose, your purse would go to the what did he say? The charity of my choosing, or if not, I'll end up giving you mine." What's your thoughts on that? Because Askren bottled it. Askren didn't say anything.
Ben gave the exact same monotone response he gives to any form of challenge. He just went, "Well, I'm not going to do that, am
I?" I'm pretty surprised because let's be honest, he's coming into it. I would say underestimated Jake, definitely. He's coming into it with because he's said this many times. It's just like, look, if he's a good boxer, then he's going to beat me. But obviously, I don't think he's a good boxer. He says that in so many fucking videos. God knows how many. So yeah, I definitely think we got to see a little bit of truth. Considering if he was that confident that Jake wasn't, you'd think that he would, he'd want to double up. On the cash wise, you know what I mean?
I think he may just be aging and self-aware though. Because he's like you said, he said the thing about well, if he is good, he'll beat me, and it's not the best way to sell a fight, but it's also I reckon that's done more numbers than if he went, I'm going to knock him out, just because everyone's like, wait, what? So it seems to work, and Ben's actually carried the promotion of this because he's releasing Rocky montages of himself and stuff. And so
I'm yet to see the Rocky montage. I need to see this.
It is quite funny. It's a proper high level, probably took hours or days to shoot. It is quite good.
I know what I'm watching after this.
We did have 2 listeners earlier. I don't know if gone.
This is my first time using this app, so I don't even know where to look. I don't even know.
They tuned into something titled Open Talk, expecting some juicy gossip. It's and I think Ben's going to do him in.
Pretty much, bro. Pretty much. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck it. We'll go for final predictions then.
All right.
Yeah, you can start.
I'm putting my money on Jake, like I said.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, if I read correctly, I think his coach said he was going to do a 2-round knockout, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is an 8-round fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
just judging it on previous matches and his experience. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say 4th round knockout, Jake.
Yeah. I was going to go 3-4 because I think Ben's chin will hold up for the first 2. But I mean, we can talk like he will have taken harder shots than what he'll get off Jake, but it's the accumulation where he can't do a takedown or anything. Like
exactly. And do you think just because he's so ingrained into like that whole wrestling technique, you know what we saw with the KSI versus Logan, and Logan just kept on trying to grapple, and he kept on trying to do like techniques that just weren't allowed in the sport.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening with Ben?
Yeah, and if Ben gets tired just through lack of like awareness and lack of oxygen to the brain, I can see him trying to take down genuinely. Yeah. just through old habits. When you're not thinking about it, you just act on instincts.
Yeah.
Like I know it even from sparring. If I'm shattered in the 3rd round, after a while I'll get sloppy and just try and move out of the way pretty much. So I can see him resorting to whatever's ingrained in him, which will be takedowns. But I can see him having a point deducted at least, and yeah, Jake finishing it 3 or 4, I guess. Yeah,
well, only time can tell. When is the fight? It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Saturday for Americans, Sunday morning for us.
I see. And is it sponsored by the Zone, or how are we able to?
No, it's on Triller, which is the rival app of TikTok, I think. I might be wrong. I don't know what Triller is, to be honest. I think it's TikTok's biggest rival, but it's like 8-second videos or something.
Okay, but obviously this is going to be live streamed, isn't it? So it'll just be
yeah.
You know how much the fight is?
Like 30 quid, I think.
Jesus, I was going to say I was going to get it. 30 is quite. It's quite the sum.
Which is,
yeah.
I know they'll pull off numbers anyway, but I see that as quite high considering it's probably a younger fan base watch Jake still.
Definitely.
Like his actual fans are probably like 13, I'd guess 13 to 15. So surely, but yeah, I reckon it'll still do numbers because they have the concerts and everything as well, don't they? Like Justin Bieber and people performing, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch the highlight though. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, exactly. Very excited to see it. Very excited.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. I think if Jake does come through this test, which I give him a 65% chance of beating him pretty much, or some 60-70%. If he does come through it, it's interesting to see who he'll fight, because I don't know how many people will want to fight him if he gets through this in the same fashion he has in the others. Like, there's not many entertainers who will want to fight him, I don't think.
I think the entertainers will be synced out. I think it will just like I think he will be motivated as well to move on to something more serious. Because
I think he'll stay down the MMA route just because there's not many boxers similar experience to him that have the same rep. Whereas he can drag a MMA fighter into the ring and they'll be around the same level with a good rep.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think he'll ever like? Oh, sorry, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's the end of like that group of YouTube boxing, just because like I don't think KSI will want to hop in the ring with him after he's just had 3 fights since KSI last fought, for example.
It's quite a shame because I really wanted to see that match.
That was the biggest fight to make. Once KSI beat Logan and Jake beat Neeson Gibb, that was the fight to make instantly. But
yeah, definitely.
COVID happened, and then at this point, because America's rules have been a lot looser.
Terrible. Let's be honest. They've been terrible.
Absolutely awful. They've basically been encouraging people to get it. But because of that, like, boxing just carried on out there. Whereas KSI, I assume, just couldn't train at all. So it's been pointless for him. So everything sort of moved on without him, kind of. Even though he could still get a big fight if he wanted. But Jake's moved on to UFC fighters pretty much.
Which is, I think, I wouldn't say it was the best decision. Obviously, it's a good decision to go into. Obviously, we all wanted to see the KSI versus Jake. We know that's very highly unlikely now. But what's your thoughts on?
I'd go as far as to say I wouldn't even say it'd be an even. At the time, it would have been evenly matched.
Yeah, definitely. Now
at least
it would
on
be
paper. Whereas
it's a
now, when
landslide now.
someone's fought every 4 months, and the other guy's fought once in 3 years. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's
Jake
not
will
fair.
take the
Yeah.
yeah he'll take the W easily.
Yeah.
Unfortunately to say, it doesn't matter how much KSI trains.
Yeah.
He's just got more time on him. He's got more experience on him. More
Yeah.
opponents
And
that
at
he's
this point,
been in
like
the ring.
KSI could make other fights now in the build up to it, and knock. I don't know, some random YouTubers just fight them to warm up. But Jake's still gonna have fights in the meantime, so he'll always be about 3 or 4 fights behind him, which just doesn't make sense anymore.
And I think Jake's going to be fighting tougher opponents because, in all honesty, with the way, I mean, unless KSI was to try and follow route, but it's like we've been talking about. There's that experience gap that he's just going to be.
It will always be there now because one's been active and the other one hasn't been through no fault of their own, really. But there will always be that 2-year gap now between them.
But he's doing bits of music, so bless him. He's doing all right.
Yeah, no, he's winning.
What's your before we go? What's your thoughts on the YouTube versus TikTok?
It won't happen.
No,
bro. I watched a thing on it, and Bryce Hall, who's one of the headliners, I watched Impulsive, and they've been trying to get Jake and Logan to fight on it, but they're offering money that doesn't make sense to the point of, like, Jake's getting I think 600K for this fight. They're offering him like 10 mil out of nowhere, and Jake's like, "Well, where are you getting this money from?" Like, no one's heard. Like, Triller are a huge app. SocialGloves aren't. Like, no one's heard of them. So I don't know where they're promising Bryce Hall, I think, 5 million plus a 1 million knockout bonus, and it's like, I don't know who's convinced them they're doing like 10 mil pay-per-view buys, but they're not doing it.
Jesus. I was going to talk about the Deji one. Because he's getting back in the ring, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's his opponent?
I'm not sure, if I'm honest. It's some TikTok guy, which doesn't narrow it down really. But the other guy looks awful, absolutely awful. There's one guy on the card who does look decent. I think it's Taylor Holder. I think that's the one that Enison Gibbs trying to fight, and he looks decent.
Yeah. Is he actually going to be able to get on? Because obviously it's the public that picks, isn't it?
Yeah, they're just not doing anything. They haven't done a poll or anything. This SocialGloves thing are really weird.
That's terrible.
No one knows where they've come from. They've just offered a load of people 10 mil to get in the ring, and everyone's just like, yeah, sure.
Well, if it does end up happening, it'll be entertaining just to watch those two.
Yeah, no, exactly.
See what they can do, but yeah, that's So final thoughts: Jake, third, fourth knockout.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get the knockout in those rounds,
yeah, I can see him fading, but
okay,
he faded slightly in the Deji fight because I watched it back the other day, and he was shattered after like round 2. But I think, but now that's just for experience. Like in my first fight, I gassed out after round 2 as well. It's just where. In the heat of the moment with the adrenaline, you're just not breathing right or anything. Whereas now he'll be in a place where he's somewhat familiar in the ring. He'll be able to control that nerves, I think.
So you think he could get like his second wind, like after that, and recover?
Maybe I don't think he'll gas out as much, but he'll definitely fade. Like, so his punch output will, say in the first round he throws 70 punches. By the last round he'll be throwing 30 or something. But I think he'll be able to keep going throughout, and it won't be. I think Ben's banking on him, like trying to knock him out and then not being able to, and then Ben will just like reach his final form. But
yeah,
I don't see it happening. Like, I think Jake will he'll be able to last the rounds. It'll just be, he will fade naturally. Like, even if you watch, like Tyson Fury in the 8th round isn't the same Tyson Fury as in the first round. Just
you're right.
Yeah, pace as it goes on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. But I think if it goes to a decision, Jake will get gifted it anyway because he's like the poster boy for this Triller Fight Club, so it's in their best interest financially for Jake to win. Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise, brother.
All right then. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, it has been.